you stress over packed schedules, work, sports, friends, clubs, being recognized, grades, and or the future? If you said yes to any of the above, hi, my name's Adam, and we may have more in common than you might think. It's so easy to get caught up and dragged down in a busy and competitive environment. When bad days turn to bad weeks, we've all been there. However, it's more important to remember the things in our lives that make us happy than it is to dwell on the things that bring us down. Yet, myself included, it seems we overlook the happy moments. When was the last time you thanked a family member for being there for you? Or a friend for making you laugh when you were upset? If a good life could be simplified, I would just be happy. So what does it mean to lead a life of goodness? It means appreciating what you have, being honest with yourself, and not being afraid to take risks. That was the introduction for my chapel speech I wrote when I applied to take on the responsibility in September 2014. At the beginning of the school year, if you had asked me who I thought the luckiest, happiest person in the world was, I would have looked at you straight in the eyes and said, me. The plan was to write a speech about how unhappy I was at my old school. I would tell a sad story about how horrible I was treated and how honest I was with how unhappy I was, how I took a risk to improve my situation, and how much it had paid off. But it's never quite so simple. As the year went on, I learned that you can change your surroundings, you can have everything that you think you wanted, but it does not mean it will make you happy. I don't mean to sound like a pessimist, but at the end of the day, bad things happen. They happen to everyone. Everyone gets upset. For me, it started with drifting from a close friend, a rejection letter from Georgetown University, work that piled up as Act 1 began. My teachers asked me why I was so tired in class, hours of study spent staring at the wall, and poor grades that rolled in. Stop. What does any of this have to do with being happy and leading a good life? Well, let's tie it all together. How was I supposed to write a chapel speech on being happy when I wasn't? Well, we're going to come back to the idea I started with. What I have learned is that we need to think about happiness differently. The other day, I was walking downtown, and I saw a huge kudo ad on a billboard downtown that said, "Choose happy." To be honest, I'm still really confused as to what this has to do with my phone plan. But choose happy, that's my point. Happiness is a state of mind. It's a choice. The point is that I am in control of my own happiness, and so are you. One of my best friends once said to me, "Shastii eto neobladani tiem, shevo jalayash ajalani tovo, chiam obladayash." And I have no idea what he meant. But then he translated it for me, and it made a lot more sense. It means happiness is not always having what you desire, but desiring what you have. On that note, I want to share 3 short stories with you, and a revised 3 things I want you to take away from my speech today. The first is a legal case, the case of Mr. Maurice Bickham. Maurice Bickham spent 37 years and 6 months in prison before he was released. In 1958, an all-white jury convicted him of murder and sentenced him to death after he was shot by a police officer holding an unloaded shotgun, hands up. The officer who had uttered death threats to him earlier on in the evening approached with his weapon, and Mr. Bickham, fearing for his life, loaded, shot, and killed the officer. Later, upon review, his sentence was reduced. Upon his release from prison, the 78-year-old expressed his remorse for the death. But of his time in prison, he said, "I don't have 1 minute's regret. It was a glorious experience." Somehow, Mr. Bickham had spent 37 years in prison and suffered firsthand at the hand of racism by his own lawyers and came out of jail with his spirit intact. The second story is about a research study, which I'm going to ask you all to take part of today. Imagine that there are 2 doors to the future. Behind door A, you are winning the lottery. Behind door B, you are in an accident that leaves you as a paraplegic. What future do you think will make you happier? Hands up for winning the lottery. Thank you. Okay, I'm sure to your surprise, this isn't actually the case. In fact, in a study conducted at Northwestern University, the long-term happiness of lottery ticket winners and those left as paraplegics are essentially equal. We construct an idea in our heads of what we think we need to make us happy, what we think we want to make us happy, but we are wrong. I'm not saying that bad accidents aren't horrible or trying to minimize the pain of trauma. What I'm saying is that human happiness is resilient if we let it be. The third story is a personal anecdote, and it has to do with playing tennis. Before coming to Appleby, I spent half a year on the tennis court, 6 days a week, after school and on the weekends training. While I clearly did not turn out to be the next Bouchard or a 6'4" Raonic, I learned some skills during those half-asleep Friday morning training sessions that I can apply to my life today, even though I didn't realize it. I spent months training my mind to forget points that I lost, to not get angry and frustrated with myself, and focus on the points that I win. As a result, I have a bit of a nasty habit of coming back from behind to win matches. I don't let myself get psyched out by being down, because it's okay to be down. It's okay to be upset. Learning how to be content with not being 100% of the time changed my tennis game for the better. Like I said, from each of these stories, I have one takeaway. One thing I am challenging myself to do, and hopefully you will join me. Like Mr. Bickham, there are things in our lives that we can't change. It doesn't do to dwell in the past, or to try to change other people. It's not as much about the cards you are dealt as much as how you play them. As we saw in the study, happiness can't be bought, won, or sold away, because happiness is a state of mind. People often think about happiness as a goal. If I make money, if I get good grades, I will be happy. But this is not necessarily the case. Lastly, try to think positively. Everybody gets down once in a while, but please, don't give up. It's okay. Focus on the things that are going well. You might just bounce back. For every negative thought you have, try to think of one positive one. I said that bad things happen, and they do. But just as I wrote in September, so do good things, and they are more important. And I think that I'm going to take some of my own advice. I, not events and things, have the power to make me happy or unhappy today. I can choose which it shall be. Yesterday is dead and tomorrow has not arrived. I have just one day, today, and I'm going to be happy in it. I am happy today because I get to spend it with my friends, who I love. Because my mom is here to share this moment with me. That I got to embarrass myself in front of a bunch of strangers, and that I think I'm having a great hair day. I am happy today because I choose to be, and so can you. Now will you all please rise and sing hymn 3.
Good.